I had to take a little break, so we come back for part two of this week's podcast. We'll finish it up um, as soon as we can. So, we were just talking about when I was coming face to face with the reality when I woke up and there was this little nurse in there that first week ever as a nurse, and I look up at her, because all of our next move is like I'm gonna get up, go walk, and do what I was gonna do, right? I mean, you don't think of waking up. You don't think when they say, "All right, it's time to begin the day." You don't think like, "Oh, I gotta wait for them to come pick me up and like lift my each foot individually." And what? And like what? How did this happen? And why did this happen? And stuff started coming into your mind like crazy. So you immediately got to, get control in your mind. You have to have some self-control. And because the enemy came at me like crazy. All kinds of lies, straight to my mind of, you can't do this. You need to, die. You need to find a way out of this. And I mean, I was like, man, I can't be hearing this. Finally, I started counseling, which was great. Because my mom and my girlfriend were there and other people, and for me to just, unload on them all the negative stuff I was fighting and going through wouldn't have been good at all. I mean, it would have even made it harder for them. So I was holding all that stuff in, which isn't good for me. So when I talked to the counselor, it was so cathartic. Where I was like, boo! Like I was giving her all this stuff, crying, and she was objective. She was like, okay, I can see that you're crying. It sounds like you're crying. Just listen to me, let me cry, let me rant. That's what it was at first. And then I'm a people person. I love people, or I did. I still am, I guess. But I met this guy. His name was Robin, and he had been injured for quite some time. And he was a feisty old character, man. He's definitely who God should have sent to me, because he came in there and he's like, "What are you doing? Get out of that bed," and that kind of stuff. And I was like, "Man, if this old guy can do it, I can do it too." He brought these picture albums in and showed me like how he, did this and this and this, and it was like cruise ships and everything. He did hunting. He'd been hunting magazines, all of that, and I just, man, that's bowed up. Like, all right, I'm gonna do it too. So I've never accomplished anything like he has, but he definitely was my mentor, no doubt about it. He was my Obi-Wan Kenobi, if you will. I go around just thinking of what Robin says. What is he saying? And if I couldn't think of something, I gave him a call. "Hey, man, I'm stuck." And he would just be like, "Man, that's nothing. Back in my day, we had rocks for wheels, and they would leave us, and we had to push down the hallway twice," and all that stuff. I'm like, okay. I mean, he was the only person I felt like could really take a dig at me and be like, "Stop being a whip and go for it," And so I needed that, and I feeded off of it. So I loved what he said, but sometimes I hated what he said, because he told the truth. Nurses were trying to word things so sweetly, and at that point, I just needed to know the truth. Like, this isn't here anymore, because I was taking names and I was getting stuff out of my life. I mean, seriously, I sat there and everything I could not do anymore, I put it in a suitcase and said, bye-bye. Like, no walking, get out of here. Like, all that kind of stuff, get out of here. The hardest part is that in my job, speaking about this stuff over and over and over again, that's hard, because I'm reliving it over and over and over again. So sometimes I just kind of talk like I'm talking about a different person, really. But it's too hard. I ended up getting choked up and cry all the time. So that's where we were. I was, life is all about choices. I've said this. It's all about choices. When we go in the Bible, at the very beginning, in Adam and Eve, they made a choice that caused all this sin and all that kind of stuff. You go on down, Noah's sons made a decision, do something naughty with him. If you look at all these biblical characters, they've made decisions, good or bad, and with good or bad, you have good or bad consequences that come back. So when we make choices, Let's think about the worst possible consequence before we make a choice, so we can weigh, how our response is going to be. I mean, are we gonna go full-fledged consequence mode, or is this a choice that is not so bad? Because I'll tell you, getting in a car with someone who's been drinking and drinking myself, and then taking your seatbelt off in the middle of a car ride is not smart. Not smart at all. Please don't ever ride with someone who drinks. Don't do it. Do not do drinking and driving. I'm telling you, even if you have the chance of this, what I'm going through, you do not want it. I'm telling you, first-hand experience. It is no joke. And I just please ask you that you wear your seatbelt and that you would be alert and astute as possible. You do not want to deal with what I deal with. There's a lot of positives in my life, but man, it could be a lot easier if I still was a dude that was. So moving on, I can't stay there too long. Moving on. Wow, and that's crazy how that happens. You go down that rabbit hole and woo, opens up a can of everything, doesn't it? So I woke up at the hospital. I was scared. I bit the tube in half twice to some. I didn't want to live. I broke down crying. I did everything, and I also started working out. There was a woman in there that was this PT, and I started working with her. And she started saying, "You want to go back?" My goal was to go back to school, and she was like, "You want to go back to school? Then you got to be able to do this, 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 and this." And every single time I was like, "I don't know if I can do it." She's like, "You can't go back to school." So I was like, "Okay, I got to do it. I have to do it." And finally, I succeeded, and I was able to go back to Radford University 6 months later, which is super quick. I know now. Back then, I was like, "Oh, it's taking forever, man, forever to get back to that school." But it wasn't long at all. Life moves so fast, doesn't it? Life is fast.